to Jan's views on crime. Jay Slater. Wax Unfiltered brings it home for Jay Slater. Maybe we should change the name from the accident group to the engineers. Wax hasn't spoken too much lately on the Jay Slater case, but I don't know about you. When Wax speaks, I listen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. I want to talk about Jay Slater for a minute because ever since my last reaction and the documentary, I've had a number of people reaching out to me, a number of platforms, media outlets, various different podcasters reaching out to me, wanting to get my takes, my theories. Much appreciate every single person that has reached out, even the negative people. I've had some messages where people have been racially abusive, where people have said this, that, the other. And look, it is what it is. I can appreciate everyone has their opinions and their feelings. But there's been surprisingly a number of platforms, and I'm talking platforms that have over 1 million subscribers, over 1 million followers. We're talking some, media outlets as well, surprisingly. Like, you've never reached out to me before, but now you want to start sending me emails asking for my opinion about the documentary and me being in the documentary and so on and so forth. Running through those emails, and I thought to myself, you know what, let me just do a quick video kind of discussing a few points from the documentary, discussing a few points from the case itself, and give reasons as to why I believe something sinister happened to Jay.
I'm not going to play the whole video because I want you guys to go over and watch this video from Wax. The whole time I was actually on the road, I was listening, and the whole time I was like, yes, Wax, bring it home. I'm so proud of him. Well done. I'm just so excited and so proud. I've recently been speaking about the Jay Slater case on a live stream panel, and when asked what I believe happened to Jay, I've stated that I do not believe he went to Masca, that Masca was a red herring story to take our eyes away from the actual site where Jay met his demise. I've always felt that way, and to hear Wax saying that he also feels that, I was like, yes, speak on it, Wax. Speak on it. I believe that the deed was done either inside the club or just outside the club or on the beach, and that Jay's body was transported to the bottom of the ravine and dumped there. Now, was he taken by boat? I don't know. There's that footage about the boat, isn't there? And hearing someone say, no, you said you weren't going to stab him. Whatever, okay? But I feel that that is much nearer the truth than the stories being fed to us that he went on this trip to Masca. I never ever believed that. And all that, do you remember all the pictures that were put out? The 3 wise monkeys and all this crap. It was all engineered. As Wax says, it was engineered. And who was at the driving? Who was in the driving seat? Ayub. I believe that he didn't even get to Masca. He didn't get to Masca. When we saw those videos, that were quite heartbreaking, actually, to see him in that club dancing away and, trying to enjoy himself, but being so full of drink and drugs. He looked like he was about to collapse. We have to ask ourselves also, who was taking those pictures? And why were they focusing on Jay? Was that an alibi? Did they know what was going to happen to that young man that night? And that's why they put those videos up. That's why we were fed all that crap. There's no real evidence of Jay ever getting to the Masca Airbnb. There isn't. As Wax says, the only evidence fed to us was by Ayub Kassim. Photographic evidence of Jay in the car, a slumped Rocky in the front seat, Ayub telling a jumbled story about Ophelia knocking on his door to ask him to move his car. Even I debunked that because there were so many holes in that story. 1 minute, Ophelia knocked at the door and Ayub was upstairs giggling because he thought, oh yeah, Jay's all worried because he doesn't want to open the door. Do you remember that? Remember that crap? And then later on we get that, oh no, Ophelia actually saw Jay outside. So where was the door? Who came knocking at the door then? If Jay was standing in the doorway, as Ophelia says, then where was the knock at the door? You see, there's so many holes, and I'm so grateful for Wax and also for Duncan, because Duncan looks at things in a different way. He's more sort of pernickety. He's more, is he pernickety? Possibly, because he doesn't take what people are saying out there. You know, he doesn't just listen to mainstream media. And it just seems incredulous to me that everything was engineered by Ayub, and yet mainstream media was so eager to go along with the narrative of a convicted drug dealer. Why? Why would they do that? Anyway, sorry, I sound so excited, but I genuinely am. I'm so excited that maybe after all this time, we may be getting justice for Jay.
25 minutes away. The times don't add up. The stories don't add up. But Debbie and Warren happily lapped up that information and said, thank you. How? It makes no sense. Unless you're telling me someone knows more to the story than meets the eye, and they're not telling us about it, and they're a part of engineering the story to make it look like an accident. Because how does a grieving person get closure from a photo of their son that was smiling in the back of a car that they should have been shown a whole year ago?
I'm stopping here because I think I remember, listen, I'm an old bitch, so I don't remember everything, but I think I heard that Debbie didn't recognise Jay as the person in the car. If I'm wrong there, tell me I'm wrong, but I'm sure in the back of this muddled mind of mine, I remember something along those lines. Let me know, guys. I'm sure I didn't make it up.
Unless they already saw that picture. So if you already saw that picture, what was the need to say you wanted to see Ayub in the courtroom? The only other thing Ayub gave us, in my opinion, was confirmation on that they'd done something to Jay without the parents knowing. Because based on my theory, I've always told you that Brandon, Lucy and Ayub, they come as a team. And Lucy and Ayub both corroborated Magic Mike's that day, didn't they? Magic Mike's. But they've never, ever mentioned Magic Mike's before. It was about time they got their story straight, and they'd done that for the last day of the inquest. By Ayub mentioning Magic Mike's, and then Lucy coming out after in the inquest to corroborate the Magic Mike story, was them basically slapping us in the face, the ones that know.
Wax does talk a lot about the second inquest and how certain things were brought up in the second inquest that basically shut the case as far as Adley was concerned. Now, I'm not going to talk about Mr. Adley too much, only to say that just remember he was also the coroner on the Nicola Bulley case. That's all I'm going to say. But as Wax says, it's very interesting. Ayub, once again, should produce this evidence in the second inquest. Just remember that, guys.
And Quid, that was the moment Ayub knew he had to make a second version. And this is where Rocky comes into play, because now the second version says 2 Somali kids. And when we get back to the Airbnb, I'm going to have a photo shoot with Rocky sleeping in the car, because Rocky is going to be my alibi. Because I'm basically the fool guy for Brandon. Because I'm basically trying to cover up for Brandon. Brandon, who was sitting in the passenger side of that video that was sent to the WhatsApp group. So that's why Ayub called in Rocky and said, no, Rocky, you sit there. Let me take a picture from this angle with an empty seat at the back. Yeah, because Jay wasn't sitting in that seat, in my opinion. It was an empty seat. They didn't think they needed to use it, or they were going to need to use it. That's the reason why it wasn't presented at Inquest day number 1. That's the reason why Debbie hadn't seen that picture of Jay smiling in the back of the car from day 1. Unless you're telling me she had. And if she had seen it from day 1, it means they've been purposely playing us from day 1. Why would they be purposely playing us? Why would it be all an act? If Debbie saw that picture from day 1 or even week 30, why would Debbie ask for Ayob to be at the second inquest? What?
See, this is the one thing that I can see that Wax is still uncertain. Guys, there's so much. In this case, it's not difficult to sort of find yourself lost. And that's why I think it's important to think a lot, not be blinkered, but to trust your own gut, okay? And as I said, I always believed that the story about Masker was a red herring. And I also believe, like, I can see Wax really thinking here and saying, well, did Debbie know? Had Debbie seen that picture? I think she had, and I'm going to do a little bit of digging and see if I can find that. See if I can find the bit where Debbie is speaking about seeing that picture.
All that you have done for me. I mean, there's multiple sketchy messages, ladies and gentlemen, that Debbie decided not to look into. The family decided not to add to the documentary because the aim was to make it look like people like myself and others were in the wrong. We were in the wrong. We wasn't never right. We was never right. We thought we were right. We were just spreading misinformation. No, you were just spreading misinformation. See, it's things like that that really pissed me off. I actually said to myself, I'm going to react to the documentary and that's going to be my final reaction. I'm going to move on. Not only have I been bombarded with emails from various different platforms, but people have been made to believe that me and others have been spreading misinformation without them actually correcting us, without them actually saying, well, what you were saying was all bullshit because here's the reasons why. The documentary did not debunk my theory. In fact, the documentary backs it up even more.
100%. The documentary answered no questions. The documentary was merely a tribute to Jay and to garner sympathy from the public for the loss of this lovely little curly-haired little boy who was shown at his birthday party. The documentary wasn't about what actually happened to Jay Slater. And those of us that have been covering the case for months and months and months know that. And it was a kick in the face for people like us that have been looking at everything about this case, that have been looking at the side characters, because it was the side characters that were responsible for the loss of Jay Slater.
Not with Ayob, he's not with Rocky. Where is Jay for 1.5 hours? Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, after 1:10 in the morning, we never see Jay again. That screenshot of Jay in Tramps can't be verified, and it contradicts what Ayob said in the inquest. So again, when we see Jay leaving the NRG festival without his t-shirt, that's the same Jay we saw when Lucy was walking down the stairs, Brandon walked over to her in the nightclub, and Jay was kind of left by himself, looking like he was about to just fall and collapse or find a corner to sleep in. In my opinion, Jay found himself walking out of the entrance of the NRG festival because I think he was looking for Brandon and Lucy. Brandon walks over to Lucy when she was coming down the stairs. She's got 2 bags around her at the time. God knows what's in those bags. And from there, the footage cuts off. However, we get to see the screenshots in the documentary, Jay walking out. He looks in the same condition as he was, without his t-shirt on, and then we see him without his t-shirt on again, being told to leave by the security guard and being told to go a certain direction. Now at that point, where is Brandon? Where is Lucy? Where did they go? Are they outside? Are they where the security guard told Jay to go? Where are they? How did they disappear at that point? Because when Brandon walks over to Lucy coming down the stairs and Jay getting outside, in my opinion, it has to be about 10 minutes in between each other. It then makes you ask, where was Brad? What did Brad decide to do? If Brad went outside and found out that Jay was being kicked out and he weren't being allowed back in, where did you go? What explanation do you give thereafter, Brad? There isn't one. It's kind of like, oh, Jay just FaceTimed me at 5:30 in the morning saying he's going to stay at the black guy's house. I didn't think anything of it because we were chilling with them for a couple of days. And then you got to think, well, where was Brad when Jay was taking balloons outside Sugar Reef? and the group went to Magic Mike's. Where was Brad? Like, you know, it doesn't make any sense.
So, there we have it. Go over to Wax's channel. It's called Wax Unfiltered. Listen to the whole of this video and see if you come away with a change of mind. If you were thinking more along the lines that, yeah, I think the boy did go to Masca, just have a look. And also be aware that there are people that are genuinely looking for justice for Jay.
To do this video off the back of being bombarded with so many emails and so many messages, as well as negative ones as well. There have been negative ones, racial abuse, people saying this, that, the other about me and the channel and all of that type of stuff. You know, I've got a thicker skin, take it on the chin, and we move on. Thought I would just do this because I want you guys to listen to everything that I've said and understand that these red flags that have not been looked into, that have not been investigated, prove that something happened, the friends covered it up, and the family have been manipulated to think and believe a certain thing, and ultimately this case has been engineered to look like an accident.
I want to applaud Wax. I want to applaud Duncan. I want to applaud Mama D. I applaud each and every one of you for all your hard work. And maybe, just maybe, we might finally get justice for Jay. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all looking after yourselves. And yeah, get those winter clothes out, guys. We need them. We're certainly going to need them very, very soon. But above all, you take care of yourselves out there because, trust me, it's a rotten old world. So until the next time, bye-bye for now.
Always looking in the wrong place, seeking diamonds in the coal mine, blinded by my need for passion, searching for a gem to call mine. Senses